In this video, Joseph Murphy appears to be discussing the power of the mind and imagination in relation to healing and prayer. Joseph Murphy uses an example of a man who was in the hospital with a kidney and heart infection, but was able to recover quickly by consistently imagining himself at home and with his loved ones, rather than dwelling on his illness. Joseph Murphy suggests that this man's intense desire to be home and his ability to visualize himself there played a role in his rapid recovery. Joseph Murphy also mentions that the power of suggestion can be greater than the efforts of medical practitioners, and that it is important to focus on the positive aspects of a person's health rather than their symptoms or pains when praying for their healing. Joseph Murphy advises that when praying for someone who is ill, it is important to surrender them to the infinite and trust in the power of God to heal, rather than trying to dictate the terms of healing.
This man with the kidney and heart infection, he said, I won't be very long here in the hospital. I am constantly picturing myself at home and in my office. I am embracing my loved ones. Anyone can do this with your imagination, an imagination of the workshop of God. You are what you imagine yourself to be. He's doing in his mind all the things he would do were he home. Here's a man in a hospital. In his mind, he closes his eyes. In his mind, he's in his office, in his home. He's doing all the things he would do were he home, in his mind. He'll be compelled to go home. Whatever I imagine and feel to be true comes to pass. Having an intense desire to be home with his loved ones and picturing himself there, he was 10 days in the hospital. The doctor said he should be there 2 months. Doctor said to me one time, that man in the hospital, he said, that man in that bed, talked to him. He said, according to all medical rules and laws, that man should live. His wife left him, and he turned to drink and dope and all the other things, and that's why he was in the hospital. He failed in business and lost his money. He accepted his sickness and wanted to die. You can get all the people in the world to pray for you. Our friend here knows, he's a student of metaphysics. He knows, and everybody here I'm sure you know this, that you can have thousands and thousands of practitioners praying for you. And if you want to go on, they can't help you. Because the suggestion to myself is greater than the suggestion of all the people in the world. And they get nowhere. There are a lot of practitioners that can keep a dog alive for another week or two. Hypnotic suggestion, because you can hypnotize a dog too. And then there are some people who pray for loved ones who are ill. And they're in their 80s or 90s, or they want to, they're in praying and insisting that their prayers be answered in their particular way. Supposing you're praying for your grandmother and she's on in years. You pray the right way. You stop telling God his business and say, my grandmother is known in divine mind. The infinite spirit which created her. It's all wise, it knows all and sees all. And this infinite healing presence which created her gives her freedom, peace, harmony, and joy. I loose her to God, and God cares for her. Then when you think of your grandmother again, you can pray for her again the same way as if you never prayed before. Your realization of her freedom and her peace will be picked up by her subconscious mind. If she comes home, or if she goes on to the next dimension, your prayer is answered. That's the way the infinite answered your prayer. You surrendered her to the infinite, and you didn't begin to tell the infinite its own business. This is what you should do. In praying for any person, you claim what's true of God is true of that person. Anything other than that is not prayer. If your brother or father is ill in the hospital, you don't think of his symptoms or pains or aches. You don't think of the body at all. That's for other forms of prayer, other forms of therapy. You don't see your father in the hospital. Not if you're a scientific thinker. Your father is at home, and he's telling you the miracle of God has happened in his life. And the way you would pray for him is say, my father is known in divine mind. God made him, I didn't. This miraculous healing power is flowing through him, vitalizing, healing, restoring his whole being into the pattern on the mount. Harmony, health, and peace. Restoring him into harmony, health, and peace. And then you realize it's God in action. When you think of him during the day, you never see him in a hospital, you're finding him there. If you're thinking of his pains and aches, you're magnifying them. Most relatives do more harm than good when they pray for loved ones. They're thinking of their symptoms and pains and aches. Sometimes they go in with a tape measure to measure them for the cause. They're killing their loved ones before they're dead. Oh no, when you think of your father again after praying for him in the right way, you're busy during the day, you're behind the counter, you're driving along the road. You say, God is healing him. God is healing my father. But you see your father home, vital and alive. You must make there, here, and the future now. You make there, here, and the future now. No, he's home now. Now be honest with yourself. It was the image you had in your mind all through your life that was made manifest. Whether you were a kid going to school or whatever it was the image you had in your mind that was always made manifest, not what you affirmed.
Right.
That's why when you pray, your image must agree with your affirmation. Does it or does it not? Therefore, if you're seeing your mother in the hospital, you're not praying right. Your image must agree with your affirmation. That's called prayer. The two shall agree as touching. To affirm one thing and image another is called hypocrisy in the Bible.
Use your imagination to visualize yourself in good health and surrounded by loved ones. Surrender your health and well-being to a higher power and trust in its ability to restore you to health. When praying for others, focus on their inherent goodness and health rather than their symptoms or illness. Avoid dwelling on negative thoughts or symptoms, as this can contribute to a worsening of health. Remember that your thoughts and feelings have a powerful impact on your health, so it is important to maintain a positive outlook. Practice gratitude and focus on the good things in your life, as this can help to improve your overall well-being. Seek out supportive and positive relationships, as these can help to boost your mental and emotional health.